Yo, what up guys, it's your boy Rythmn. Now as promised, today's video is going to be my very first guide for the 3.0 expansion on Primevals for Archeage. Now from here on out, I'm going to have a lot of good information you're going to want to follow if you want to become a Primeval god. Now this video is going to talk about early game gearing for Primevals in 3.0. So please pay attention to what I just said. Now this is early game gearing for Primevals in 3.0. I'll talk about in-game gearing in another video when that time comes. So before we actually jump into what gear you're going to want to get, also keep in mind that everybody has different opinions. If you don't agree with my choice in gearing, that's completely up to you. My way is not the only way to gear Primeval, and in fact, I'd really like to suggest you giving your opinion in the comments down below if you have any other ideas. Now with all that being said, let's jump into the early game gear you want to work towards. So first things first, the number one most important thing you're going to want to focus on no matter what is your bow. Your bow means absolutely everything, and your gear means absolutely nothing if you don't have a good bow. Now as a Primeval, you rely heavily on being the most geared, so keep that in mind. At this early stage in the game, the best bow you should work for right now is either a Celestial or a Divine. Now there's actually 3 different types of bows that you can get this early in the game, but I really only suggest working on the Mistsong weapon, which I'll explain in another video. Now if you're actually making quite a bit of money, then you could potentially go for regrading an Obsidian bow, but this is only, and I really mean only, if you have a large surplus of money. Now remember, we want to try to keep our costs as low as possible because you're going to be replacing this gear for in-game eventually. Now once you have your bow, the next thing you want to work towards is your armor. You have 7 pieces that you need to work towards. So there's an inexpensive way, and then there's a somewhat pricey way depending on what you choose to do. Now the most inexpensive way would be going for a full GHA leather set, to which you can eventually upgrade all the way to Celestial without spending any money, just as long as you keep running the dungeons and get the mats. Now as you can tell, my helmet is the only piece that I have GHA because I'm doing the other direction. I'm going with Aurora gear as my main thing. Now this will cost no money if you go the full GHA set, and it's actually a pretty decent set for Primevals, mostly because with it being Celestial, you'll get the Celestial buff and you'll get all those sockets for gems, which is really important. The other route would be going for full Aurora gear, except for the helmet, in which case you can use an Obsidian or a GHA helmet like I'm using right here. I want to really stress that you need to pay attention to the stats on the Aurora gear because sometimes they're all different. You want to get every piece with stamina and agility like I have here. You also want to pay attention to the combo effect. You want to copy every single one I have here because they vary on the auction house as well. Now the reason I changed the helmet is because the Aurora helmet is absolutely garbage and it's just not worth. Now keep in mind, if you actually go for the Obsidian helmet, it won't really be good for you until you at least get it to tier 4, which I'm going to show you guys right here. So if you go to Obsidian helmet and you look at leather right here, you can see that none of these have stats on them. They have melee stats actually, and there's something you don't want. You can't change it until you get to tier 4, in which case it gives you ranged attack. So unless you have money, just leave this at tier 1 or just get a GHA helmet like I have. It's a lot easier. Now for the Aurora pieces, I would just really primarily focus on getting all of them to heroic, so you can at least get this heroic buff, which gives you critical damage, it gives you more health and stuff like that. But if you have enough money, the most you ever want to take this Aurora gear is to Celestial and nothing further, unless you're just, Bill Gates and you got all the money in the world. Now, the next pieces after you focus on your gear and your bow is you want to focus on your weapons. Now, keep in mind, these weapons are melee. You are not a Dark Runner. You're not an Abolisher. You don't need to focus. These aren't super important. So, for early game, the main 2 things that you want to get, I know I'm using a short spear, but I honestly just haven't had the money to pay for these yet. You want to get 2 Obsidian Daggers, and the reason for that is because the Obsidian Daggers at tier 1 will give you a ranged critical damage. So having 2 of them basically give you 6% in ranged critical damage at tier 1. Now the most you want to take these is like grand. You don't want to regrade these because it's not, like I said, something you need to focus on. This is very minimal. Maybe late game you'll focus on it, but just get 2 tier 1 Obsidian Daggers. Not only do these actually give you a bonus to your ranged critical damage, but they also have a hidden proc to where you get attack speed, which is absolutely amazing for Primevals. Now next up, after the weapons, after the armor, after the bow, you want to concentrate on your accessories. So for the necklace, you want to go for the warrior necklace that you can get with medals from Halcyona, Missong, a bunch of other things. You just want to focus on upgrading that because it's literally completely free and it's actually pretty decent. Late game, you're going to want to go for an Ethereum lightning necklace, but you honestly won't see like very many of those in the auction house, and if you do, it's going to be really expensive, but it is really good. It's best in slot for Primevals for sure. For the earrings, I know I have Dreadnought's earrings, but you actually want to go for the assassin earrings. I think it's kind of new, especially since I'm playing in 3.0. The assassin earrings actually give you ranged attack, and they also get higher the higher regrade they are. So these are actually pretty good. I think they're best in slot. You just want to regrade them as much as you can. Next up, you want to go for the rings, and for the rings, you basically just want to get any of the rings that are Gale. Now, I was told to absolutely just skip Illustrious and try to get Magnificent and above, but honestly, they don't give you that much of a difference in the defense penetration, so just try to get whatever you can, but this is probably the best in slot rings. Ethereum Gale being probably like the best one, you know, and obviously anything Gale is really good for your rings. That is the accessories. The next thing after that is your loot. This is probably really simple. You should have got this in the very beginning, but it's called a Stradivarius. I think it's a drop, but you can probably find let's see, you can probably find a lot of them on auction house. Look at this, 1 gold. You don't need it to be crazy. Look, I can buy a heroic one for 30 gold. Like, it's not that expensive. This is probably a really good loot for you in the very beginning because this loot gives you like literally pure agility, so it's really nice to have. The only thing I would replace this for is after you get your necklace done, or if you just save up a shit ton of warrior medals, probably if you're west, because I know they get a lot of medals, I would get the shadow play. Or no, I think it's shadow play. It gives you free an extra like rank to free runner, so that's actually pretty nice. Last but not least, this was not in any kind of like order for the accessories, the loot, and the cape and kind of stuff, but you want to get your guild to at least 3. You want to be in a guild that is at least level 3, and the reason for that is because if you do your prestige every day or whatnot, once your guild is level 3, you have access to getting these cloaks right here. And for us, where is it? Here we go. You can get this cloak, which increases your move speed by 10%, which is crazy good. Like, it's really good. And then later on, once you level up some more, you can actually get that cape to I think it's Delphinad. It goes from Ethereum to Delphinad, and it becomes really good. Like, it's a really good cape, and you'll just keep upgrading it over and over. But it's really nice because it gives you that 10%, 11% move speed. And if you guys didn't know, as a Primeval, you're always trying to stay away from your target, so move speed is the best thing possible. Now, that pretty much sums up the early game gearing for Primevals. I know I left out some things like how to acquire some of the stuff, like the Missong weapons, and like what gems you want to put into your gear and what enchants and stuff, but I'm going to talk about that in another video, since that can go a lot in depth. Hopefully this video helped you guys out somehow, and hopefully I didn't miss anything, because I really feel like at the end of my guide videos, I always miss something. Now, if I did happen to confuse you, or I missed something, or you have any kind of questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below, and I'll try my best to answer them. Definitely spam that thumbs up button if you guys enjoyed the video, and if we can actually get this video to 100+ likes, I'll throw out the next guide for Primevals you guys are all looking for. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace! Yo, what up guys? Definitely subscribe to me if you want to see future content on the bottom right, and a huge thanks to my Patreons for supporting me on my journey.